What's happening? What's your number, cucumber? Smoky titty. Curly tuda.
I'm just a cat with an attitude, calling cops. I don't purr, don't meow, don't use a litter box. Sex, drugs, and alcohol, all I know. Pass the bottle, twist the top, and away we go. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me.
Dumbass, look.
Hey, how did you change me back?
It was a beautiful afternoon in A-Hole City when Harry, the refined house sitter, arrived at his appointment to watch an elderly couple's house.
Hey,
Said Harry nervously in a high-pitched voice.
my name is Harry. Is this the Titty residence?
Oh, hello, Harry.
Responded the elderly Mr. Titty.
Yes, we're the Titties. I'm Cesar Titty, and this is my wife, Muffy Titty.
It's nice to meet you, Harry.
Laughed Mrs. Titty.
Please make sure to take care of the house and our cats while we go out for our anniversary.
Mr. Titty sighed.
Oh, please don't remind me. I'd rather be dead. Can't we stay home and have sex instead of spending extra money? Everything with women is money, money, money. Spend this, spend that.
Caesar, stop it!
Interrupted Mrs. Titty.
Not in front of Harry.
You knew this when you married me, Muffy. I always say what's on my mind. There's nothing fake about the titties.
Well, I know, but sometimes it can be very hurtful how hard you can be.
Not only am I hard, but I also am very firm.
Harry explained.
Okay, listen. I will take great care of your house and cats.
Oh!
Exclaimed Mrs. Titty.
Let me leave you my emergency contact number in case anything happens.
Nothing better happen. I'm about to get laid tonight.
Mr. Titty shouted angrily.
Nobody better call my phone when I'm trying to have sex, plus spend the money on it. Now, can we please go? I took that little blue pill and I'm getting zipper burn on my pecker head.
Okay, yes.
Agreed Mrs. Titty.
Have a great time.
Said Harry.
Bite me, prick.
Snapped Mr. Titty as the couple walked out the door.
Oh, how I love cats.
Exclaimed Harry. Harry walked up to one of the Titty's cats, who was sleeping on the couch.
Well, hello there, little guy.
Shouted Harry. The cat awoke from her nap, annoyed.
Really?
She grunted.
Is that what you say to your dick every morning?
Harry couldn't believe his ears.
You can talk?
He asked in utter disbelief.
Yeah, and you can go fuck yourself.
Replied the cat, giving Harry the finger.
So get lost, shithead.
Suddenly, an orange cat walked in from the other room. He was walking on two legs and could talk as well.
Sorry for her attitude.
Apologized the orange cat.
That's Furball. My name is Alden. What's yours?
My name is Harry.
Replied Harry, scared shitless that he was having a conversation with a walking, talking cat.
It's nice to meet you.
Greeted Eldon as he extended his arm for Harry to shake it.
Oh, hello!
Shouted another voice in the distance. It was coming from inside the closet.
Who's in there?
Asked Harry.
Oh, that would be Mitchell.
Answered Eldon.
Good. A human, perhaps?
Said Harry, relieved. Harry opened the closet door only to find out, to his dissatisfaction, that Mitchell was not a human, but another talking cat, putting worms up his butt.
Oh, hello there!
Squealed Mitchell with surprise.
I got worms, and I'm having a blast! Plus, I'm also having a ball.
He chuckled.
Oh, I crack myself up. Oh, it's a crack!
He laughed.
Speaking of crack, it's a total bitch getting the worms to stay in there. Would you mind shutting the door? That is, unless you'd like to join me.
He winked at Harry.
Well, I messed with the wrong cat.
Cried the buttworm. Harry started to vomit violently. And passed out in a pile of his own puke. When Harry came to, Eldon was there.
Do you have a weak stomach, mister?
Asked Eldon.
Are you sick?
I am now.
Replied Harry hesitantly.
Do you have any medicine?
We sure do, Harry. In the upstairs bathroom, in the mirror cabinet over the sink.
When Harry got upstairs to the bathroom, he found a grayish-blue cat staring into the open mirror cabinet, which only had a tube of toothpaste inside.
Holy shit!
The grayish-blue cat cried.
I've turned into a tube of toothpaste!
The grayish-blue cat started to cry fiercely. Harry walked up to the crying cat.
What?
Said Harry reassuringly.
No, you didn't. Just shut the cabinet door.
The grayish-blue cat turned around angrily.
I don't have any arms, dumbass!
He snapped at Harry.
I'm a tube of toothpaste!
He continued to cry intensely as Harry sighed.
Dumbass! Look!
Shouted Harry as he shut the mirror cabinet door. The grayish-blue cat looked into the closed mirror cabinet, happily convinced that he was a cat again.
Oh, hey!
The grayish-blue cat said, relieved.
How'd you change me back?
Magic!
Sighed Harry sarcastically as he rolled his eyes.
Oh, right on!
Replied the grayish-blue cat.
Anyway, I'm Harry. I'm your house sitter.
Explained Harry.
Cool, man! I'm Smokey,
replied the grayish-blue cat.
Ironic, eh?
He laughed.
Do you have anything for an upset stomach in here?
Asked Harry.
No,
answered Smokey.
I totally just downed everything, bro.
Harry was in complete shock.
Are you serious? What was in there?
He cried as he pointed to the mirror cabinet.
Pills, creams, calamine lotion, foot powder, nail polish remover, you name it,
replied Smokey.
Impressive for a kitty of my size, huh? I once outdrank a pit bull.
Smokey bragged.
Now I wonder if there are still any suppositories around here.
Nope. All out of suppositories.
Laughed Mitchell as he walked by the bathroom.
Damn it!
Yelled Harry.
How the hell can you do that to yourself, Smokey? Doing so much?
Hopefully being a drug addict will grant my girlfriend Cynthia full custody of my kid,
replied Smokey.
That way there will be no child support, bro. So never quit on anything, even if it's drugs.
Haven't you heard of the DARE program?
Oh, please, dude. I got into drugs taking a dare.
So, you have a girlfriend named Cynthia?
Harry sighed.
So there are probably more cats around, I assume?
Not quite,
shrugged Smokey. Suddenly, a beautiful woman walked into the bathroom.
Cynthia, relax,
shouted Smokey.
You need to go home, damn it. I was dumb for inviting you over last night.
Harry was flabbergasted.
What the hell? You're human.
Don't be fooled, explained Smokey. She may be human, but she fucks like a dead fish.
You little bastard!
Snapped Cynthia at Smokey.
Like you're so great. A 2-year-old midget is more hung than you.
Smokey retorted.
Well then, you must love 2-year-old midget dick because I totally punished that ass of yours, bitch.
What did you call me? Damn it, Smokey. I thought you loved me.
I didn't until our 8 minutes in bed were over. Then my rum wore off. Shit, I fucked poodles that knew more of what to do with my dick than you did.
I hate
you. Okay, enough,
interrupted Harry as he put his hands up.
Don't get close,
shouted Cynthia at Harry.
Don't touch me.
She screamed as she took out a bottle of mace from her pocket.
Stranger danger!
She sprayed Harry with mace. Harry was in so much pain, he could barely breathe or open his eyes.
Ah! My eyes!
He screeched.
I can't see! Guide me to the sink!
Harry stuck his face into the toilet instead of the sink. Gasped Harry.
There's piss in here!
Harry pulled his face out of the toilet and plunged backwards into the bathtub where he passed out.
Oh, poor Harry!
Cried Smokey. He walked up to Harry unconscious in the bathtub and took his wallet.
That shit eased the pain.
Meanwhile, the Titties arrived at the Cox Inn for the night after a lovely anniversary dinner. However, Mrs. Titty still couldn't help but wonder if her cats were okay. 3 hours later, Harry come to when his cell phone started ringing. He was still in a daze, but managed to answer the phone. It was Mrs. Titty.
Hello, madam?
Said Harry. He continued to talk to Mrs. Titty on the phone.
Yes, the house and cats are great.
Suddenly, Eldon walked into the bathroom embarrassed.
I'm sorry, mister.
He addressed Harry.
I just went poopy in a corner. Excuse me?
Shouted Mrs. Titty.
Do you have company in our house without our permission?
Harry nervously responded.
Madam, I guarantee you there is nobody here. But I'm not lonely. Did you know your cats can talk?
Mrs. Titty laughed.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Put one of them on, please.
Great,
said Harry with great excitement as he pointed his phone towards Eldon. He put Eldon on speakerphone.
Here, she wants to talk to you.
Eldon started purring and meowing into the cell phone. Mrs. Titty started to giggle through the phone speaker.
So precious! My little darling! Oh, so cute!
Harry was less than pleased with Eldon.
What the fuck are you doing, Eldon?
He shouted.
I beg your pardon, Harry!
Shrieked Mrs. Titty.
What is your need for that language?
Harry, extremely embarrassed and nervous, replied,
Your cat isn't talking.
He was meowing and purring like crazy,
explained Mrs. Titty.
He wasn't talking like us humans talk,
stated Harry.
Boy, I sure do sometimes, Harry,
said Eldon.
Some days I never shut up.
Just then, Smokey walked into the bathroom.
Yeah, you can be a pain in the ass, kid,
he said to Eldon.
Hear that?
Shouted Harry.
Eldon and Smokey are both talking.
Mrs. Titty was not amused.
Excuse me, Harry, but do you and your friends find yourselves to be humorous?
Awesome! I brought more weed, baby!
Cheered Smokey as he held up a bag of marijuana in his paw.
Son of a bitch, I forgot my pipe!
He rolled and lit up a joint instead.
Weed? Harry!
Screamed Mrs. Titty, who was so angry and confused that she started to cry.
I want you and your friends out! I don't like your little pranks!
Mrs. Titty, I'm telling you the truth. You can ask Cynthia,
explained Harry. Mrs. Titty decided to play along, in case the entire conversation was just Harry playing a prank on her.
Who is Cynthia?
She said lightheartedly.
Smokey's girlfriend,
stated Harry.
Just a fuck, buddy,
clarified Smokey as he took another puff from his joint.
Very funny, Harry,
laughed Mrs. Titty sarcastically, suddenly dropping her playful manner.
Enough! Now listen, make sure Mitchell takes his worm medicine. I always have a hard time getting him to take it. I pray the poor thing isn't suffering.
I'm sure he's doing just dandy and will be fine,
reassured Harry.
Now straighten out your actions, Harry, before I take mine any further.
Mrs. Titty scolded Harry.
I must say I'm very disappointed in you. I expected much better than this.
Smokey put down his joint and coughed.
Ignore her. She's a fucking bitch.
Mrs. Titty had taken all that she could take and screamed into the phone.
Harry, that does it. We are on our way home. You are never ever going to work for us again. Plus, I'm going to see that you never work for anyone else as well.
Mrs. Titty slammed the phone down and went back into the bedroom to get her husband. Mr. Titty heard his wife coming back into the bedroom and pitched a tent, anticipating her smiling down at him in her underwear while he waited tied up with a sock in his mouth. Instead, Mrs. Titty stormed into the bedroom, saying,
Well, I guess I better untie you before we go.
She untied him from the bed. Mr. Titty was puzzled and upset.
Aw, Muffy,
he cried.
It's our anniversary, and my erection finally came.
Shut up, Caesar,
snapped Mrs. Titty.
I have 4 other pussies on my mind at the moment, rather than my own.
Mr. Titty frowned and said,
I always kind of wonder if you're a lesbian.
Mrs. Titty got dressed and stormed out of the door of the hotel. Mr. Titty followed her, still in his underwear.
You can somehow get dressed in the car,
she told Mr. Titty. Meanwhile, Harry was livid at Smokey.
You little shit,
shouted Harry.
Smokey,
cried Eldon.
Sir, that was bad. You got Harry in a lot of trouble.
My bad,
apologized Smokey.
Dude, my bad, I'm high.
He laughed to himself.
You didn't help any either, Eldon,
snapped Harry at Eldon.
Yeah, Eldon,
Smokey taunted back.
You little douche.
Sorry, mister,
whined Eldon.
Why wouldn't you talk and admit it?
asked Harry. Eldon took a deep breath and explained.
Because they're old, mister. You fainted when you found out we spoke. The titties would have heart attacks.
Harry pulled out a switchblade from his back pocket.
Listen, when your owners get here, you will fess up, or I will slice you.
He threatened the cats.
Sweet blade, dude,
complimented Smokey.
How'd I not notice that there when
Smokey waved Harry's wallet in front of him. Harry checked his back pocket, only to feel his wallet missing.
You little fucker,
he shouted at Smokey.
Oh crap,
cried Smokey.
I gotta pee.
He started urinating on the floor.
Okay, I'm peeing.
Harry swung the switchblade towards Smokey and started to threaten them again.
Shut up, wise ass. Now when your owners get home, you're all going to admit to everything. I'm going to go grab the other two.
Run!
shouted Eldon. Harry chased Smokey and Eldon with the switchblade all through the hall. As they approached the staircase, Furball was sitting in front of it with her leg out. Smokey, Eldon, and Harry tripped over Furball's leg down the staircase. They rolled down each step, and Harry got knocked out as he hit the bottom.
Furball, you saved our lives!
Cried Eldon.
Wow! Thanks, Furball!
Added Smokey.
Don't thank me. I hate you all.
Explained Furball. The Titties finally arrived back at their house along with 2 police officers.
Officers, arrest that man!
Shouted Mrs. Titty as she pointed at Harry. The 2 police officers picked up Harry as he came to and handcuffed him.
It was those stupid cats!
Cried Harry. Wow! Said one cop in amazement as he picked up Smokey's joint off the floor. No wonder it smells of weed,
That isn't mine!
shouted Harry as the 2 cops walked him to their police car outside.
None of the weed is mine! I'm innocent! I'll get you for this, Smokey! I'll get all you stupid cats for this!
The cops put him in their car and drove away. Mrs. Titty was so pleased to find that her cats were okay that she started to cry,
Oh, my poor little kitties.
said Mrs. Titty as she petted all 4 of them.
I'm so sorry.
1 week later, Smokey was snorting cocaine off the kitchen counter while drinking vodka, as he usually does every morning, when Eldon walked in, carrying a Bible.
Smokey, sir,
Said Eldon.
I think it's time you have heard the good news.
Smokey stared at Eldon blankly.
Happy hour?
No, Jesus Christ.
Said Eldon.
What's the matter? What are you swearing for?
Asked Smokey.
No, Jesus Christ is the good news.
Explained Eldon. He opened up his Bible.
Do you know what his good word is?
He asked Smokey. Smokey blankly stared at Eldon again and said,
Happier hour?
No, Mr. Smokey.
laughed Eldon.
The word is that Jesus rose from the dead.
Holy shit!
Screamed Smokey.
So he's a zombie?
Oh, Lord, no, Smokey. Jesus died for our sins so that we all shall be forgiven and enter his kingdom of heaven. That was called the resurrection.
Big deal, kid.
Said Smokey.
I had an erection this morning.
Eldon shook his head.
Boy, you really need help, mister.
He informed Smokey.
Maybe you're right, kid.
Agreed Smokey as he pointed to the bottle opener on the kitchen table.
You want to pass me that bottle opener over there?
No,
Snapped Eldon.
no drinking. I want to talk to you and tell you that I feel bad about Harry. We did cause some problems for him.
Smokey laughed.
Who cares, bud? It's all good.
I care. I don't like lying.
You're not lying. You're just not admitting the truth.
That's the same thing, mister. We should come clean and admit to what we did.
Come on, man. Don't be ridiculous. Come enjoy some of this shit with me.
Well, I believe what goes around comes around.
Yeah. Whatever you say. Now get lost.
Suddenly, the doorbell rang.
Yes?
Asked Mrs. Titty as she answered the door. 3 police officers were at the door along with Cynthia and a baby carriage.
Hello,
Said Cynthia.
my name is Cynthia. I'm here to serve Smokey his papers. He is due in court for child support.
Are you nuts?
Screamed Mrs. Titty, angry and confused.
Are you a friend of Harry's? Were you one of his friends that came over?
I'm afraid she's not lying, Mrs. Titty, explained one of the officers. The officer lifted up the blanket in the baby carriage to reveal a half-human, half-feline baby that resembled Smokey.
What in the heck is that?
Shrieked Mrs. Titty.
His name is Sam.
Explained Cynthia. Madam, said the officer, we're going to have to take Smokey in for DNA testing. Eldon wandered into the room. Mrs. Titty was panic-stricken and almost fainted.
What?
She screamed at the top of her lungs.
Oh my God! What's going on?
Do you mind if we look around for Smokey, please, Mrs. Titty? Asked the officer.
Sure, come on in.
Answered Mrs. Titty, still in shock. The officers entered the house and searched for Smokey. One officer went into the kitchen and found Smokey snorting coke off the kitchen table. Smokey started tweaking out. He shouted in pain before staring blankly at the officer.
Meow.
Smokey tried to make a purring noise, but he ended up coughing.
Oh shit,
said Smokey. The officer was not amused. You're under arrest, Smokey, shouted the officer. He took out a pair of tiny paw cuffs and handcuffed Smokey.
For what?
Argued Smokey.
That's not cocaine, that's flour. I was about to bake a cake. That's all!
The officer escorted Smokey out of the house and into the cop car. "Let's go, Cynthia," the officer shouted. Cynthia and Sam entered the front seat of the cop car. Back at home, Mrs. Titty still couldn't wrap her head around the fact that her cats could talk. She gathered her husband and her 3 cats into the living room for a family meeting.
What's going on here?
She barked. Eldon nervously piped up.
Well, the truth is we really can't talk.
Yeah, it's true.
Admitted Furball with her head down.
Guess what?
Shouted Mitchell.
I'm gay!
Never in Mr. Titty's life could he fathom such a hard pill to swallow.
You mean to tell me
Stuttered Mr. Titty.
Mitchell's gay?
Oh yes, and proud of it.
Bragged Mitchell confidently.
Oh, and I'm why your hot dogs are missing. I'm such a hoe!
For the love of God, Caesar!
Snapped Mrs. Titty.
All 4 of our cats can talk, and they just took Smokey away.
Well, I guess that would explain why my painkillers and Viagra have been missing.
Stated Mr. Titty.
Haven't you realized why we're wearing clothes? And why there's no poop in the litter box?
Asked Furball.
You're not going to sell us or get rid of us, are you?
Oh, darling.
Answered Mrs. Titty, pulling the 3 cats toward her for a group hug.
Of course not. I adore you, kitties. Well, what about Smokey?
Asked Eldon. Meanwhile, Smokey was thrown into a jail cell at the police station.
Assholes!
He shouted to the officers as he clenched the prison bars. Nobody responded.
Damn it!
He said to himself regretfully. He continued to talk to himself while walking around his jail cell.
So, this is jail?
Jail is a motherfucking bitch, isn't it?
Said a familiar high-pitched voice in the distance.
Hell yeah, it is!
Responded Smokey.
This sucks!
Smokey paused and became puzzled.
Wait, who said that?
I did. Did you miss me?
Shouted Harry from inside Smokey's jail cell.
Oh, shit!
Cried Smokey.
You son of a bitch! You ratted me out to the officers about Cynthia and Sam, and they threw me in jail!
Smokey scratched Harry with his claw deep down the side of his face. Harry began to beat the crap out of Smokey.
You little fucker! Hold still!
He shouted.
Oh, shit! Ouch!
Cried Smokey. Smokey woke up in a puddle of his own blood and in great pain. Suddenly, the officer opened the gate to Smokey's jail cell and stepped inside. Okay, Smokey, said the officer. You're being bailed out. Smokey was relieved.
Sweet!
He said weakly, slowly recovering from his ass kicking.
Really? Thanks, officer!
The Titties bailed Smokey out and drove him back to their house.
Listen, you guys,
said Smokey.
Thank you so much for releasing me from jail.
Well, you are going to rehab to take care of your drug problem,
explained Mrs. Titty.
Now, the other concern is that you have a son by a girl named Cynthia.
Oh, yeah, well, you know.
No, we don't. So please explain.
Because I was wasted, Mrs. Titty.
Well, you know what's going to have to be done, right?
If you run out of morning after pills, keep a coat hanger handy?
No, Smokey. You are going to marry Cynthia.
What? No! Don't make me do that!
You're going to be responsible for your actions, and your son and bride-to-be will be moving in next week. Wow! Congratulations, Smokey. I'm so happy for you.
Cheered Eldon.
Way to go,
said Furball sarcastically.
dumbass.
She mumbled to herself.
Oh! I'm going to be a flower girl!
Cried Mitchell enthusiastically. Smokey grabbed onto Mr. Titty's leg for comfort.
Mr. Titty, don't you have a say in this?
Asked Smokey. Mr. Titty wasn't paying attention and started to mumble to himself.
It blows my mind that Mitchell's gay.
No!
Screamed Smokey. 1 week later, Cynthia and Smokey had their wedding at the local church.
Smokey, please give your vows now,
said Father Du Bois.
A-E-I-O-U?
Responded Smokey. Father Du Bois stared blankly at Smokey.
Okay.
Apologized Smokey.
And sometimes why?
No, you must confess your love to Cynthia,
clarified Father Du Bois.
Oh, all right,
answered Smokey.
Well, I didn't want this. I thought you were a hot piece of poontang until my intoxicants wore off, and I knocked you up. So, here I am, thrilled to death.
Okay,
said Father Du Bois warily.
Cynthia?
Well,
answered Cynthia.
He forced himself on me.
I did not,
interrupted Smokey.
He had way too much to drink and pushed me to the wall. He felt me up and down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I knew I didn't like this.
Then why are you marrying this prick?
Shouted out one of the wedding guests.
Because I realized
Responded Cynthia.
I fucking love this. And more importantly, I love him.
I fucking hate you!
Cried Smokey.
And we so had the kinkiest sex.
Continued Cynthia. Everyone cheered.
But I don't love her!
Cried Smokey.
Oh, Lord! This was just supposed to be a booty call! This isn't love if I'm being forced!
Shouted Smokey.
You're not being forced, honey.
Said Cynthia.
Deep down inside, I knew you loved me when you took my virginity.
Shit!
Cried Smokey.
I now pronounce you cat and wife.
Stated Father Dubois.
You may kiss the bride.
Oh, God! Oh, God!
Cried Smokey. Cynthia picked up Smokey and kissed him. The wedding guests went wild. 4 months later, Smokey woke up on the couch after drinking heavily.
Holy fucking shit! I'm hungover!
He yelled. He took out his phone.
I'm going to order some pizza.
He called Fellatio's Pizza on his phone. There was no response.
Damn! No answer!
Smokey tried calling again, but still, no one answered.
Fuck!
Determined, he tried calling them a third time, but still no luck.
Damn it! What the fuck? They must be busy tonight. Fuck this! I need grease! I don't have time to wait! I'm just gonna go out for food!
Smokey stumbled upstairs to the bedroom he, Cynthia, and Sam were sharing. When he grabbed his wallet off the dresser, he accidentally woke up Cynthia. Annoyed, Cynthia turned on the lamp.
What the hell are you doing?
She snapped at Smokey.
Going to get dinner, bitch!
Responded Smokey.
Jeez, what the hell are you still doing in bed?
You're getting dinner?
Yeah! It's 6:45, idiot!
Cynthia looked at the alarm clock on the dresser.
Wow, you're right.
She said calmly.
It is 6:45. In the fucking morning, you idiot!
In the morning?
Thought Smokey.
I must have passed out all night. No wonder Fellatio's Pizza wasn't answering.
They don't open until 11 a.m., you little dick.
Fuck! I need grease. What do I do?
Maybe stop drinking so much. You drink so much, Smokey.
Apparently not. I woke up earlier and usually I don't wake up until the afternoon, so I didn't drink enough. I needed more heroin and cold medicine with my whiskey.
You're going to end up overdosing.
Better than underdosing. I'm fucking starving. I'm going to take some pills. The titties have the medicine cabinet padlocked. Fuck, how am I going to sleep for 4 more hours?
Cynthia jumped out from under the covers and onto Smokey.
You know, baby, I can put you to sleep.
She said seductively.
I'm sure some nice morning sex will relax you.
I want to fall asleep, not die,
responded Smokey.
Since we've been married, you never have sex with me anymore.
Cynthia sobbed.
I told you. Making things okay to do bores me,
explained Smokey.
I like fucking you back when you were a booty call, and I could pretend that you were someone else's wife.
I
hate you! Snapped Cynthia with tears in her eyes.
Sweet,
cheered Smokey.
Only 2 more hours,
groaned Smokey with eyes bulging out of his head.
30 minutes left,
cried Smokey.
Oh, God!
Another 2 hours later, when Mrs. Titty walked into the living room to watch her favorite 11:30 a.m. soap opera, she was shocked to find the entire floor covered with pizza boxes. On the couch, an overweight and gluttonous Smokey was about to snuff another greasy, salty slice of Fellatio's 9-inch Italian sausage pizza.
Smokey, look at this mess!
Shouted Mrs. Titty.
Fuck yes!
Cried Smokey as he swallowed.
He tried calling Philathios at 6:45 this morning thinking it was evening,
explained Cynthia. Eldon and Furball walked into the living room to confront Smokey.
Smokey, sir!
Cried Eldon distressfully.
We're all worried about you.
I'm not,
said Furball sarcastically. She looked at Mrs. Titty.
How could you honestly have not noticed any of this prior to now?
Smokey!
Mrs. Titty shouted, trying to ignore Furball.
You need to be out looking for a job!
There was an awkward silence. Cynthia jumped off the couch shouting,
I can't take this much longer. I'm going to end up just calling it quits and divorcing you.
Smokey also got off the couch.
Yes, please!
He said to Cynthia with a huge smile on his face.
Leave! Get the fuck out of my life and take your half-human baby with you!
Just then, Mitchell walked in.
Sweetie, do you know what happens if she does that?
He asked Smokey.
If she divorces you, you'll have to pay child support and alimony.
Smokey threw up his arms in anger.
What?
He shouted.
So I'm basically trapped into staying married?
Oh, man, Smokey!
Shouted Mr. Titty.
Shut up!
Screamed Mrs. Titty to her husband.
That's why I'll never marry a woman, honey.
Explained Mitchell.
Come on, everyone. Marriage is about love.
Cried Eldon, trying to lighten the mood.
I don't love her!
Shouted Smokey.
You're such an ass!
Shouted Cynthia to Smokey. Furball laughed.
Smokey, you get out there and go find a job right now!
Demanded Mrs. Titty.
Or your tuchus is getting neutered so that you never play with a woman's heart again!
Okay. I'm going,
said Smokey, walking out the door.
No bars!
Shouted Cynthia. Smokey walked into his favorite bar, the Dirty Sanchez, where he drowned his sorrows in malt liquor and cream. He finished chugging a pint and burped.
Oh, fuck.
The guy sitting next to him turned to him and asked.
Hard day, buddy?
Marriage is bullshit,
complained Smokey.
Yeah.
Laughed the guy.
I hear ya.
My wife is saying if I don't get a job soon, she's divorcing me, which shouldn't be a problem. But apparently I'd have to pay child support and alimony.
There was an awkward silence.
But aren't you a cat?
Yes!
Smokey agreed.
I am a cat. And get this, my wife is human. And so now I have a half-cat, half-human baby. My fucking luck, man.
Yeah. I was married with kids once. Stupid bitch and little fuckers took me for everything I had. Thank God for my disabilities, or else I'd be fucking broke and homeless.
Smokey almost choked in disbelief.
What? Disabilities?
He asked the guy.
Well, I'm an alcoholic,
explained the guy.
And I got injured on my job. After that, my drug and alcohol addictions made it impossible for me to get a job anywhere. So, my caseworker got me on welfare. Plus, I got workers' compensation from my work where I got injured at.
Smokey couldn't believe his ears.
Wait a minute,
he shouted.
Wait, the government pays you to be on drugs and alcohol? Pays you to just sit on your ass all day?
Well, yeah, kinda, I guess,
said the guy.
Dude, you're a fucking genius,
screamed Smokey.
What do you mean?
Asked the guy.
Don't you see? All I gotta do is work one day, get injured, get workers' compensation, and then apply for disabilities for my drug and alcohol addiction. And boom, I'm making money and can get divorced. Thanks, man. I'm gonna go find myself a job. See you soon.
Smokey jumped off his bar stool and ran out the door with glee. The guy was still puzzled about the conversation he just had with Smokey.
But isn't he a cat?
He asked the bartender.
Dude, it's a fucking book. Relax,
shrugged the bartender.
Well, I get that, but it's a fucking cat that knocked up a human.
Yeah? So what? A lot of things in this book don't make sense. Hell, you don't even make sense.
What do you mean I don't make any sense?
You're just some fat, nameless slob in a bar.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. For example, what's your name?
The guy thought in silence for a moment.
Exactly,
cried the bartender.
You've only been referred to as the guy throughout this entire book. So you're just some random fucking guy.
So, you're only listed as bartender.
The guy angrily retorted to the bartender.
Yes, but at least my character description has a title and profession. You're just some guy,
explained the bartender.
Bullshit. You're no more important than me or those people over there,
shouted the guy, pointing to the people behind him playing pool.
Right, everyone?
They can't answer you,
stated the bartender.
Why?
Asked the guy.
Because they're just silhouetted characters illustrated into the background. Nobody wanted to design 2 new characters for only 1 panel,
responded the bartender.
It's in the book, dumbass, so you don't matter.
The guy started to cry.
Ladies and gentlemen,
announced the bartender,
I understand that this is a fucked up little book about a womanizing cat who got a human chick pregnant and that this story is totally trashy, but just enjoy yourself. If not, then by all means, go rub one out and drink some orange juice. I'll even bookmark this page for you.
Just then, there was an awkward moment as you debated whether you should go jerk off to see if anything would happen when you came back, or just continue reading.
There you go. Better?
Asked the bartender.
Enjoy the rest of the story.
Suddenly, the guy pulled out a gun and shot the bartender in the head.
Woo! I killed the bartender. Now I can be known as the guy who killed the bartender in this book. Woo! I do matter.
Cheered the guy who killed the bartender. When Smokey got back to the Titties household, he informed everyone that he landed a job as a busboy at a French restaurant called Menage a Trois.
Smokey, I'm so proud of you for getting the job. Aww.
Gushed Cynthia.
Thanks, baby,
replied Smokey.
and thank you, everybody. It's time that I become responsible. I love you all.
Fuck, I'm gonna be sick.
Cried Furball.
Aw, sweetie.
Replied Mrs. Titty.
God sure is proud of you, Smokey.
Cheered Eldon.
Okay, let's see how long this lasts.
Said Mitchell. The next day at Menage a Trois, Smokey was in the kitchen washing dishes when he saw an overweight chef carrying a high stack of plates behind him. He thought to himself,
All right, Smokey, as soon as that fat chef comes around the corner, you're gonna trip him and have him fall on you. Bam, baby, you're gonna be getting free money, and they say drug addicts never make money. Okay, Smokey, here he comes.
As the fat chef with the high stack of plates walked past him, Smokey rubbed dish soap into his own eyes.
Oh, God!
He screamed, covering his eyes.
My eyes! My eyes!
Smokey blindly started to run, bumping into the chef and tripping him.
Sacre bleu!
Cried the chef as he fell on Smokey, crushing many of his bones, including his ooey-ooey.
Success!
Cheered Smokey as he laid there, showered in broken glass. The restaurant notified Cynthia of Smokey's injury, and she and Mrs. Titty rushed him to A-Hole City's best veterinarian for pussies, Dr. Hyman. Dr. Hyman did a quick CAT scan on Smokey.
Smokey, there's no doubt you are injured and cannot return to work.
Explained Dr. Hyman.
But Dr. Hyman!
Whined Smokey, pretending to cry.
I have to work! I have a wife and kid to support!
Cynthia blushed.
Oh, baby.
She cried as she started petting Smokey's head.
Well, the good news is you're going to get workers' compensation from the restaurant you worked at,
said Dr. Hyman.
Oh, Dr. Hyman! Thank you!
Shouted Smokey.
No problem,
responded Dr. Hyman.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, Dr. Hyman, it's hard to admit this. I'm addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I have a hard time focusing. It's like I have ADD or something, and I battle depression, which is why I drink so much.
You're addicted to drugs and alcohol? Poor thing. I'm going to set you up with a social worker to get you qualified for disability benefits.
Oh, Dr. Hyman, thanks so much.
We're so proud of you, baby.
Cried Cynthia to Smokey.
You deserve this, baby,
responded Smokey. Mrs. Titty was delighted.
Smokey, you're coming along so well,
cheered Mrs. Titty.
Okay, well, I'm going to write Smokey a prescription for pain medication and some antidepressants,
announced Dr. Hyman. Smokey was so delighted, he sat straight up and yelled,
No fucking way!
Everyone looked at him awkwardly.
Thanks so much, Dr. Hyman,
stuttered Smokey. When Smokey got home, he told Eldon the good news.
Wow, so you're going to get free money?
Asked Eldon.
Hey, I worked hard for this,
responded Smokey.
But mister, isn't that cheating the government?
No, kid, it's business. I'm going out.
Smokey went to Big Dick's car emporium and purchased a convertible with his welfare money. As he drove home, he picked up every prostitute he passed on the way.
I love welfare!
Smokey shouted at the top of his lungs. A few hours after Smokey got home, Eldon heard female voices from inside Smokey's bedroom.
Oh, God!
One of them shouted,
Oh, boy! It must be Smokey's private prayer time with the ladies,
cried Eldon. Eldon opened the door and found Smokey having an orgy with several prostitutes.
Shit!
Cried Smokey.
I can explain!
5 minutes later, Cynthia rang the doorbell. Eldon went downstairs to let her in. She crashed on the couch.
Hi, Eldon,
said Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia,
responded Eldon.
You're missing out on prayer time.
Cynthia was puzzled.
What do you mean?
She asked.
Well,
explained Eldon.
Smokey's in your room with a couple of girls, and they're all on their hands and knees yelling, "Oh God, oh God." I think Smokey is discovering prayer and repenting. He really is changing.
Cynthia furiously jumped off the couch and ran upstairs.
Oh no, that little bastard!
She shouted. Cynthia almost had a panic attack when she opened her bedroom door. She started to cry at the sight of her husband smoking weed in their bed, surrounded by prostitutes.
Hey, bitch! Will you shut the door?
Asked Smokey.
What the hell are you doing?
Cried Cynthia.
I don't know.
Smokey looked around the room.
I forgot their names.
He chuckled.
You said you changed!
Shouted Cynthia.
And you believe me?
Laughed Smokey.
What a dumbass!
Cynthia showed Smokey her wrist.
Look, I even got your name tattooed on my wrist!
Smokey started to laugh hysterically as he uncorked a bottle of wine.
Wow,
he said.
You're so fucking stupid.
Smokey started chugging the bottle of wine. Cynthia had enough and reached her boiling point.
That does it!
She yelled.
I'm getting a divorce.
Smokey spat out his wine and realized that he would have to pay child support and alimony if Cynthia divorced him. Plus, if Cynthia took him to court, she could have him arrested for all the laws he broke today, such as drinking and driving, snorting cocaine, having sex with girls the same age as him in cat years, and vehicular manslaughter.
Aw, shit!
He shouted. The next thing you know, Cynthia took Smokey to court. The rest of the Titty family joined them as they stood before the judge. Honor period.
Well, Smokey, what do you have to say for yourself?
Asked Honor period.
I don't know.
Laughed Smokey.
Well, you're going to have your disability payments discontinued. Plus, I am levying a huge fine for your DUI. And I am ordering you to pay Cynthia alimony and child support. The bailiff has the totals.
What? Bitch, that's not fair!
You will respond to me as your honor.
Good for you! You were on her as well!
Smokey started chuckling. Honor period was less than pleased.
I'm glad you find this hilarious, Smokey.
She said.
You will also find this hilarious. I'm sentencing you to jail time.
What?
Cried Smokey. Suddenly, a familiar voice from the courtroom called out.
I object, Your Honor.
Who said that?
Asked Honor period.
I did.
Answered the guy who killed the bartender.
Honey, who is that?
Mrs. Titty asked her husband.
I don't know. Some guy.
Responded Mr. Titty.
Listen, Your Honor.
Said the guy who killed the bartender.
I may not be the cleanest, or the sweetest, or hardest working man, but I do have a heart. I'd like to make a point.
The guy who killed the bartender walked up to an old man with a younger wife.
Look at this couple over here,
said the guy who killed the bartender, pointing to the couple.
Sir, is that your wife?
He asked the old man.
Yes, sir, she is.
Answered the old man.
You're much older than her. In fact, you look like you're around my age. But I know I couldn't get a girl like that. You got a lot of money?
I have my own business.
Do you love her?
She's hot.
Do you love him?
The guy who killed the bartender asked the younger wife.
She doesn't speak English,
explained the old man.
She married me for my citizenship, and I married her for obvious reasons.
My point exactly, Your Honor.
Shouted the guy who killed the bartender.
Isn't marriage supposed to be about love and commitment, rather than being stuck with a person? Or the fear of having to pay a shit ton of alimony and child support if you decide you no longer love them?
Everyone in the courtroom looked at each other, nodding in agreement.
We all have had accidents and booty calls like Smokey here, but that doesn't mean he should be condemned to a marriage and then to pay up-the-ass fees if he wants to leave her,
said the guy who killed the bartender.
Who the hell is he?
Asked Cynthia. Smokey became teary-eyed.
Some guy!
He shouted.
The government is what makes us hate marriage,
explained the guy who killed the bartender.
You should not be able to marry for citizenship or because you need a green card. You shouldn't marry because somebody has a lot of money, nor should you be forced to stay in married because you fear them taking you for everything you're worth. You should marry and stay married because you sincerely love that person. If you don't work, you qualify for good things such as assistance. If you make a lot of money, you qualify for, face it, you got everything. But what about the common person? What about the little person? if you work and try hard and get nothing. Nothing! So when a guy needs a helping hand, the government makes welfare out to be, well, not fair at all. So instead, I say, give Smokey a chance.
Everyone in the courtroom stood up, clapped, and shouted their approval, except for Cynthia.
So, you know how many girls he's led on?
She asked.
Come on in, ladies!
A bunch of girls lined up behind Cynthia. Just then, lightning struck and the wind kicked up as a tornado was formed.
Holy fuck! A tornado!
Cried Smokey. Everyone ran out of the courthouse, including the tornado.
Oh, Smokey!
Screamed Mrs. Titty.
I'm so sorry that I put you through this!
I told you she was a crazy bitch!
Replied Smokey. The tornado sucked up a few people and dropped them on the ground. Several people started screaming as they scratched their crotches.
I got the crabs!
One man shouted.
Ouch! Ouch! Hey, this sucks! Crabs! Oh my!
Shouted a lady.
What are we supposed to do?
Asked Mr. Titty. Smokey looked around and surveyed the area. He spotted a liquor store.
I'll be right back,
he said to the titties.
You guys wait here.
Smokey ran into the liquor store while the tornado continued to wreak havoc and destroy things. He grabbed douches, topical cream, and a bottle of whiskey and ran out of the door.
Hey, no pets allowed!
Yelled the clerk. Smokey ran outside to the tornado. The titties were holding onto a lamppost, trying to avoid getting sucked into the tornado. The guy who killed the bartender was on the ground, fiercely scratching his crotch.
Ah! My pecker!
He cried.
Smokey! Save yourself!
Cried Mrs. Titty.
I'm gonna give crabs to the titties!
Shouted Cynthia from inside the tornado.
Not today!
Yelled Smokey as he threw the whiskey bottle, the douches, and the topical cream into the tornado.
Oh!
Cried Cynthia and the other girls inside the tornado as it started to deteriorate. Cynthia and all the other girls fell on the ground. Mrs. Titty hugged Smokey.
Smokey, my precious! You saved us!
Mrs. Titty picked up Smokey and started kissing him. The townspeople started to cheer.
You saved us, Smokey! Our hero! Thank you!
Hunter Period walked up to Smokey to thank him.
Good job, Smokey.
She said.
You saved us all. I find you not guilty.
Everyone clapped, nodded, and cheered, except for Cynthia.
Oh, fuck all of you!
She said.
And thanks, man, for helping me,
said Smokey as he turned to the guy who killed the bartender.
It was my pleasure, buddy,
responded the guy who killed the bartender. The two of them shook hands, hugged, and slapped each other on the back.
By the way, what is your name?
Asked Smokey. Suddenly, a voice in the distance asked,
Are you Andrew Blaine?
Actually, yes, I am,
replied the guy who killed the bartender, turning his head. It was the police, who proceeded to handcuff Andrew.
You're under arrest for killing a bartender,
shouted a policeman.
What? No way!
Cried Andrew as he started running away from the officers. The policeman ran after him and body slammed him to the ground. They pulled out their tasers and started tasing him.
I'm just some guy, I swear!
Cried Andrew, screaming in pain. A couple of months later, Cynthia called Smokey on the telephone.
Hello?
Asked Smokey.
Hey, Smokey,
responded Cynthia.
Cynthia, we're divorced. I don't owe you anything.
I know. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for being so obsessed.
Cynthia started to cry.
It's okay, Cynthia,
said Smokey.
I guess the court picks who they want to win,
explained Cynthia.
No, Cynthia, the court never wants anyone to win or be happy.
Well, I will let you go, and you're welcome to see Sam anytime you want.
Okay, great. Take care.
Smokey hung up the phone and resumed having intercourse with Honor Period while smoking.
All rise.
He laughed, and then he came. The end.
I'm a cat with an attitude, so rude, I don't give a fuck, so fuck you. I'm hooked on dope, addicted to smack, PCP, yeah, I'm blazing crack. Out back in the alley, I'll bang your bitch. Government check, yeah, I'm so hood rich. So here, kitty, kitty, come to Smokey. Buddy brown eye, let me get that pokey. I'm on that ass like stink on shit. Got a wife named Cynthia, she's a lunatic. She say she love me not. Called the cops on my ass cause I gave her the cop. She over the top, so emotional. Call all my old bitches in a tornado, but that don't faze me, save that crap. Try to to send me to jail, but I'm just a cat. I'm just a cat with an attitude, call the cops. I don't purr, don't meow, I don't use a litter box. Sex, drugs, and alcohol, all I know. Pass the bottle, twist the top, and away we go. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me.
Hey, bitch, what's up? What's going on? I'm a pussy cat. I am what I eat. How about giving Smokey a strokey? You just might chokey. Is it an okie dokie? Orgasm better be real, it better not be hokey. Nice boobies. Holy shit. Oh god. What's happening? What's your number, cucumber? Smoky titty. Curly tuda.
I'm just a cat with an attitude, call the cops. I don't purr, don't meow, don't use a litter box. Sex, drugs, and alcohol, all I know. Pass the bottle, twist the top, and away we go. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me. It's a catastrophe, a masterpiece. 1-800, just ask for me.